Welcome to Love Lies Chronicles.
She walked into the living room last Sunday evening with that look. You know the one. The expression that says someone's been building up to a conversation for weeks, rehearsing it in their head during their commute, probably practicing in the bathroom mirror at work. I was folding the laundry, which I did every Sunday night while she scrolled through her phone on the couch. That was our routine. "I need to talk to you about us," she said, setting her phone down with deliberate slowness. "About whether this is even working anymore." I didn't stop folding. There was something calming about the methodical process of matching socks, smoothing out shirts, creating neat stacks of our shared life. "Okay," I said. "What's on your mind?" She stood up, and I could see she'd prepared for this. Shoulders back, chin up, the posture of someone about to deliver an ultimatum. "I've been thinking a lot lately. About what I want. About whether I'm happy. About whether we're really right for each other." I set down the towel I was folding and looked at her directly. "And what have you concluded?" "I think." She paused, and I could see her remembering her script. "I think I need you to show me why I should stay. You have 1 week. 7 days to prove this marriage is worth saving." Here's the thing about ultimatums. They only work if the other person is afraid of losing you. And after 3 years of marriage where I'd watched her gradually check out, emotionally distance herself, and spend more time with her work friends than with me, I'd already done the math on where this was heading. I nodded. "Okay." She blinked. "Okay, that's it. Just okay? You set your terms." I heard them. I went back to folding. "Don't you want to know what I'm looking for? What would make me stay? If you knew what you wanted, you would have told me already." I folded another shirt. "But you don't know. You just know you're not happy, and you've decided that's my job to fix." Her face flushed. "That's not fair." "Maybe not." I picked up the laundry basket. "I'm going to finish this, then I'm going to bed. You know where to find me if you need anything." I could feel her staring at me as I walked toward the stairs. She'd expected panic, negotiation, begging for specifics about what she wanted, promises to change, desperate questions about what I'd done wrong. Instead, she got a guy who just kept folding laundry like she'd commented on the weather. That night, lying in bed while she stayed downstairs on her phone, I made a decision. She wanted to see what it looked like when I stopped trying. I'd show her exactly that. Not out of spite, not out of anger, but out of simple self-respect. I'd spent 3 years making this marriage work for both of us. Managing our calendar, handling the household, anticipating her needs, smoothing over the rough patches of daily life. Maybe it was time she saw what her half looked like without mine propping it up. The next morning was Monday, day 1 of her evaluation period. I got up at my usual time, made my coffee, and started my morning routine. The coffee maker gurgled and hissed, filling the kitchen with that bitter warm smell that usually signaled the start of our day together. She came downstairs 20 minutes later, already running behind schedule. "Where's my coffee?" she asked, looking at the coffee maker like it had personally betrayed her. "Coffee maker's in the kitchen. Same place it's always been." She stared at me. "Are you serious right now? You said you needed to see if this marriage was worth it." I took a sip of my coffee. "I'm giving you space to evaluate. That includes evaluating what each of us brings to the table." "So you're not going to make me coffee?" "I made myself coffee. You're welcome to make your own." Her mouth opened, then closed. She looked at the coffee maker like it was a complex piece of machinery she'd never encountered before. To be fair, she probably hadn't touched it in 3 years. That had always been my job. Wake up first, make the coffee, have a cup ready for her when she came downstairs. She made her coffee in silence, spilling grounds on the counter and leaving them there. I didn't clean them up. I finished my breakfast, put my dishes in the dishwasher, and headed upstairs to get ready for work. "Where's my lunch?" she called up the stairs. "In whatever form you packed it." Another long silence. For 3 years, I'd packed her lunch every night after dinner. Nothing fancy. Just a sandwich, some fruit, a snack. But it was one less thing she had to think about in the morning. I left for work without the usual goodbye kiss or have a good day text. My phone buzzed around 9 a.m. "So that's how you're going to play this?" I typed back. "I'm not playing anything. You gave yourself a week to decide. I'm giving you room to think clearly." 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Then nothing. That evening, I stopped at my favorite Thai place and ordered takeout. Just one portion. I got home around 6:30 to find her car already in the driveway. The house was quiet. No cooking smells, no sounds of dinner preparation. I found her in the living room, scrolling through her phone with that particular intensity that meant she was annoyed but trying not to show it. "Did you eat?" I asked, settling onto the other end of the couch with my takeout. "No. I was waiting for you." "Waiting for me to do what?" She gestured at my food. "Did you only order for yourself? Was I supposed to order for you? You didn't text me what you wanted." "I never have to text you. You always just know what I like." I opened my container, and the smell of pad thai filled the room. That was when I was trying. This week is about showing you what it looks like when I'm not. This is childish. Is it? You asked me to prove the marriage is worth it. Part of that equation is showing you what you're actually evaluating. You're not evaluating whether I love you. You're evaluating whether you value what I contribute. She stood up abruptly. "I'm ordering pizza." "Good idea." She ordered pizza. Expensive pizza with delivery fees and a tip. I ate my $15 Thai food. While she paid $40 for pizza, she ate alone in the kitchen. I didn't comment on it. The next morning was Tuesday. Day 2. She came downstairs to find me drinking my coffee, reading the news on my tablet. "There's no cream," she said, staring into the fridge. "I use almond milk. There's plenty of that." "I need cream for my coffee. You know I hate almond milk." "Then you should pick some up on your way home from work." "I don't have time to stop at the store." "Then I guess you'll have to drink your coffee black today. Or skip it." She slammed the fridge door. "Why are you being like this?" "Like what?" I looked up from my tablet. "You wanted to evaluate our marriage. I'm letting you see what it looks like when you're responsible for your own needs instead of me anticipating them." She grabbed her purse and keys, moving through the kitchen with sharp, angry movements. "I'm going to Starbucks." "That'll work too." She was halfway to the door when she stopped. "Wait, where are my keys?" "Probably where you left them. I always leave them on the hook by the door." "You rarely leave them on the hook by the door. I usually find them and put them there for you. Check your purse, or the bathroom counter, or the coffee table." 10 minutes later, after tearing through the house, she found them in her coat pocket. She was 20 minutes late leaving for work. I know because she texted me about it. "This is ridiculous. I'm going to be late because you hid my keys." "I didn't hide anything. I just stopped finding things for you." That evening, she came home to find me in the garage, working out. I'd set up my old weight bench again, something I hadn't had time for in months because I was usually cooking dinner or managing some other household task. "Are you going to work out all evening?" she asked from the doorway. "Probably another 30 minutes. "Why?" "I was wondering about dinner." "What about it?" "Are we eating?" "I am. I meal prepped on Sunday. There's chicken and rice in the fridge." "Where's mine?" "I made portions for myself. You know where the grocery store is if you want to buy ingredients. Or there's more pizza places if you want to order delivery again." She stared at me like I'd suggested she build dinner from raw materials she'd need to hunt first. "You meal prepped and didn't make any for me?" You're evaluating whether this marriage is worth staying in. Part of that evaluation should include understanding what your life looks like when I'm only taking care of myself. I did another rep. This is what that looks like. This is insane. Is it? Because I think what's insane is spending 3 years taking care of someone who never noticed what you were doing until you stopped. She left the garage. I finished my workout. Wednesday, day 3. I woke up at my usual time, but I didn't wake her. For 3 years, I'd made sure she got up on time, gently shaking her shoulder, opening the curtains, making sure she wasn't going to be late. Not today. She woke up 45 minutes later than usual, panicked and rushing. "Why didn't you wake me? You're an adult with an alarm clock. You always wake me up." "I did. When I was trying." She rushed through her morning, forgot her laptop, had to drive back home to get it. I know because she called me, furious, blaming me for her being late to an important meeting. I listened, said nothing, and hung up when she was done yelling. That afternoon, my phone rang. Her mother. "What's going on with you two?" she asked without preamble. "Did she call you?" "She said you're being cold, distant, that you won't talk to her properly." "I talked to her fine. I'm just not managing her life for her this week." Marriage is about partnership. Exactly. Which is why she needs to see what her partnership contribution looks like without mine covering for it. Her mother paused. She said, "You're trying to teach her a lesson." "I'm not teaching anything." She gave me a week to prove the marriage is worth saving. I'm spending the week showing her what she's actually evaluating. That sounds like semantics. Maybe, but it's honest semantics. That evening, the house was a disaster. Her dishes from 3 days were piled in the sink. Her laundry was overflowing from the hamper. Mail was stacked on the counter, unopened. The trash was overflowing. I'd taken care of my areas. My dishes were clean. My laundry was done. My workspace was organized. The contrast was stark. She came home from work and stopped in the doorway, taking it all in. This place is a mess. Your parts of it are, yes. So you're just going to let the house fall apart? I'm maintaining my areas. These are your areas. We live here together, right? Together. Which means we both contribute. I've been contributing. This week, you're seeing what your contribution looks like without mine supplementing it. She grabbed a trash bag and started angrily cleaning, slamming dishes into the dishwasher, cursing under her breath. I sat on the couch and read my book. Didn't help. Didn't comment. Just let her experience what I'd been doing alone for 3 years. Thursday, day 4. Her best friend called me. What the hell is going on? She demanded. She's falling apart. Says you've completely checked out. She gave me an ultimatum. I'm complying with it. She said you're being petty. Punishing her. Ask her how many loads of laundry she's done in the last 3 years. Ask her when she last grocery shopped, or paid a bill, or remembered her own mother's birthday without me reminding her. Then ask her if I'm being petty or if she's just noticing all the things I did that she thought happened automatically. That's cruel. What's cruel is taking someone for granted until they stop letting you. She hung up on me. An hour later, her mother called. Round 2. I raised her better than this, her mother said. But I also raised her to expect a partner who shows effort. I showed effort for 3 years. Where was hers? Marriage isn't a scoreboard. You're right. It's not. But it is a partnership. And partnerships require both people to show up. I showed up. She coasted. This week, I'm letting her see what coasting actually looks like when nobody's covering for her. So you're teaching her a lesson? I'm teaching myself a lesson. About whether I want to stay married to someone who issues ultimatums instead of having conversations. Who tests my love instead of trusting it. Who only values what I do when I stop doing it. Silence on the other end. Then, quietly. Did she really give you an ultimatum? She did. 1 week to prove the marriage is worth saving. Those were her exact words. That's. Her mother paused. That's not what she told me. I'm sure it isn't. Ask her yourself. Ask her if she gave me a week to prove myself. Then ask her why she thought that was a reasonable request to make of someone who'd been proving himself every single day for 3 years. Another long pause. You sound done. I sound like someone who's tired of being taken for granted and then blamed for not doing enough. That evening, she tried a different approach. Came home with flowers, my favorite, which surprised me that she remembered. Tried to initiate a real conversation. Asked about my day with genuine interest for the first time in months. I answered politely but briefly. She cooked dinner, or attempted to. Burned the chicken, undercooked the rice, forgot vegetables entirely. The smoke alarm went off twice. She stood in the kitchen looking overwhelmed and defeated, and I almost broke. Almost stepped in to help. Almost took over like I'd done 1,000 times before. But I didn't. There's a Chinese place that delivers, I said. They're pretty good. She ordered delivery instead. $40 for food that would have cost $15 if one of us had cooked it properly. If I had cooked it, she meant. We ate in silence at the kitchen table. Can we talk? She asked over lo mein and orange chicken. Actually talk? Sure. This week has been hell. I imagined so. I didn't realize how much you did. How much I relied on you for. Everything. I know. Is that what this is about? You wanted me to see? You gave yourself a week to evaluate if I was worth keeping. I gave myself a week to evaluate the same thing. We're both learning things. Her chopsticks stopped halfway to her mouth. You're evaluating whether I'm worth keeping? Why wouldn't I be? You're the one who issued an ultimatum. Why would I want to stay married to someone who needs to test whether I'm worth it? That's not what I meant. Then what did you mean? Use specific words this time. Because I need you to show me why I should stay seems pretty clear to me. She set down her chopsticks. I felt like we were in a rut. Like you weren't trying anymore. Like the spark was gone. I see. So me making your coffee every morning, packing your lunch, managing our calendar, doing the grocery shopping, cooking dinner, doing the laundry, paying the bills, maintaining the house, remembering your family's birthdays, planning our social life, and generally making sure our household ran smoothly. That was me not trying? That's just life stuff. Normal married stuff. Right? Life stuff that I was doing. While you were living in the smooth-running household I created and thinking it was just how life was. You know what the spark was? It was me, constantly, making sure the engine of our life kept running. And you mistook a well-maintained machine for one that runs itself. I do things too. Like what? Specifically, tell me 3 things you do regularly that keep this household running. She opened her mouth, closed it, thought hard. I clean sometimes. When I ask you to, yes. What else? I work. I contribute financially. We both work. We both contribute financially. That's baseline, not bonus points. What else? Another long pause. I plan our vacations. You suggest destinations. I research hotels, book flights, arrange transportation, make sure we have everything we need, and manage the entire logistics. You expressing a preference isn't the same as planning. Her face crumpled. Why are you being so mean? I'm not being mean. I'm being honest. And the fact that honesty feels mean to you should tell you something about how far we've drifted from reality. Friday, day 5. She woke up panicked. Her sister's birthday was today. She'd forgotten. No gift, no card, no plan. Did you order something for her? She asked me. No. But you always handle family gifts. When I was trying, yes. So now my family is going to think I'm a terrible sister because you're being petty? I looked up from my coffee. I'm not being petty. I'm being consistent. You wanted to evaluate what this marriage looks like without my effort. Your sister getting a birthday gift was part of my effort. That's ridiculous. Family is important. I agree. Which is why I've spent 3 years making sure every birthday, anniversary, and holiday was acknowledged on behalf of both of us. Your name was on every card I signed. Every gift I ordered. Did you ever wonder how your mother always got exactly what she wanted? How your nephew's Christmas presents were always age-appropriate and arrived on time? She stared at me. I thought we did that together. You thought wrong. I did it. You benefited from it. And now you're seeing what your family relationships look like when you're actually managing them yourself. She spent her lunch break frantically online shopping for overnight delivery, paying premium prices for something I would have ordered 2 weeks ago for half the cost. She called me twice, panicked, asking for her sister's address. I'd always handled that too. It's in the contact list on your phone, I told her. It's not there. It's in my phone. In my contact list, which I maintained. You have your own phone with your own contacts. I don't have her address. Then I guess you'll need to call her and ask for it. Good opportunity to wish her happy birthday directly. She hung up on me. Her car inspection was due. I'd always kept track of that. She got pulled over on her way home from work, got a warning, had to scramble to find time for the inspection. She called me from the side of the road. I got pulled over because of the inspection you forgot to schedule. I didn't forget. I chose not to schedule it. It's your car. Your registration. Your responsibility. We always just handled these things. I always handled these things. You always benefited from me handling them. There's a difference. Our streaming services got suspended. I'd always managed the auto pay. She couldn't figure out the login credentials because I'd set up the accounts years ago. She had to wait on hold with customer service for 40 minutes, increasingly frustrated. Do you know how many passwords I had to reset today? She asked when she got home. Probably as many accounts as I've been managing for the past 3 years. How does it feel to discover how much of your digital life I was maintaining? It feels like you're trying to make me suffer. I'm not trying to make you suffer. I'm trying to show you reality. The reality is that you've been coasting on my organizational labor for years and calling it us handling things together. This week is showing you what together actually means when both people are contributing equally. The dog needed his medication refilled. I'd always called the vet. She didn't even know which vet we used, had to search through old emails to find the information. The vet's office was closed by the time she figured it out. The dog is going to run out of medication, she said accusingly. Then you should call the vet first thing Monday morning. I'll give you the number. You already have it programmed in your phone. I do. And you have a phone with the ability to store numbers too. Or you could write it down. Or save it in your contacts. You have options. Why are you being so difficult about this? I set down my book and looked at her directly. I'm not being difficult. I'm being honest. Every time you ask me for something this week, you're proving my point. You don't know our vet's number. You don't know your sister's address. You don't know the passwords to accounts we supposedly share. You don't know when bills are due or when the car needs maintenance or when family birthdays are happening. Not because you can't know these things, but because you never had to. I handled them, and you never noticed. That's not fair. What's not fair? That I'm pointing out the truth? Or that the truth is uncomfortable? That evening, I found her crying in the bedroom. Real crying, not the strategic kind. I can't do this. Do what? Any of it. All of it. I didn't know there was so much to manage. There isn't that much. It's just life. But it's easier when someone's managing it. I thought it just happened. It did just happen. Because I made it happen. She looked up at me with red eyes. I'm sorry. For what specifically? For not noticing. For taking you for granted. For thinking you weren't trying when you were trying every single day. Okay. That's all. What else would you like me to say? That you forgive me? That we can go back to normal? I sat down on the bed, careful to maintain distance between us. Here's what I learned this week. I don't need to be needed. I want to be wanted. You needed what I did. That's not the same as wanting me. I do want you. You want what I provide. The smooth-running household. The managed life. The lack of friction. That's not the same as wanting me as a person. How do I show you the difference? I don't know if you can. Saturday, day 6. She woke me up early. I went to the grocery store last night. After you went to bed, I bought cream for the coffee, and I got ingredients to make you breakfast. I found her in the kitchen, cooking eggs with the careful concentration of someone following a YouTube video. She burned the first batch, started over. The coffee was weak and bitter, but she'd tried. This is really nice, I said, meaning it. I made your lunch too. For work on Monday. I don't know if it's what you like, but I tried to remember. We ate breakfast together. First meal we'd shared all week where we both contributed. The eggs were overcooked and the toast was cold, but it was effort. Real effort. I have to ask you something, she said. And I need you to be honest. Okay. Is this marriage over? In your mind, have you already decided? I thought about it. Really thought about it. I don't know. 5 days ago, when you gave me an ultimatum, I thought maybe it was. That you were looking for permission to leave and wanted to make it my fault. I wasn't. But you were unhappy. And instead of talking to me about it, you decided to test me. To see if I could perform well enough to make you want to stay. I know that was wrong. Do you know why it was wrong? She thought about it, really thought. Because you were already proving yourself. Every day, I just couldn't see it. Partly, but also because you can't test people's love. Either they're showing up or they're not. I was showing up. You just called it the bare minimum because your work friends convinced you that a good marriage should feel like a romance novel. Constant excitement, grand gestures, sweeping declarations. They forgot to mention that real love looks like someone remembering to buy the coffee cream you like. That's the stuff that actually matters. She started crying again. I almost threw away the best thing in my life because I couldn't see it. Maybe. Or maybe you needed to almost lose it to see what it was worth. So there's a chance? We can fix this? I don't know yet. Because here's what I realized this week. I'm perfectly happy alone. I can manage my life. I can cook my meals and do my laundry and pay my bills. I don't need someone else to complete me. Her face fell completely. But, I continued, watching her carefully. I also realized I don't want to be alone. Not forever. I want partnership. Real partnership. Equal effort. Someone who sees what I contribute and matches it. Someone who doesn't take 3 years of daily effort for granted until it disappears. I can be that person. Can you? Because it's easy to say that when you're scared. When you're sitting in a week's worth of dishes and wearing dirty clothes because you don't know how to run the washing machine. It's easy to promise change when you're uncomfortable. The question is whether you'll maintain it when things get comfortable again. I will. You don't know that. Neither of us knows that. This week scared you. But fear-based change doesn't last. You need to want to be an equal partner, not just be afraid of losing a caretaker. The words landed hard. I could see them hit. Is that what you think I'm afraid of? Losing someone to take care of me? Isn't it? This week, what did you miss most? Me as a person? Or the smooth-running life I provided? She couldn't answer right away, which was answer enough. I missed both, she finally said. But you're right. I missed the smoothness first. The coffee waiting. The full fridge. The organized calendar. I missed feeling taken care of. That's honest at least. But I also missed you. Your presence. The way you listen. The way you make me laugh. I missed my partner, not just my household manager. Yes, I missed my husband, not just the things my husband did for me. That's a start. Sunday morning, day 7. The evaluation period was over. I woke up to find her side of the bed empty. Sounds from downstairs. I went to investigate. She was cleaning. Properly cleaning. Doing the dishes, folding laundry, organizing the mail. Not perfectly, but trying. You don't have to do this, I said. Yes, I do. Not to prove something to you, but to prove something to myself. That I can be an equal partner. That I can contribute. Okay. That's all. Just okay? What do you want me to say? She stopped folding and looked at me directly. I want you to say whether I still have a marriage to save. I poured myself coffee, offered her a cup. We sat at the kitchen table together, and for the first time in months, it felt like we were actually looking at each other. I'll be honest, I said. This week was hard, but it was clarifying. I learned that I'm perfectly capable of being happy alone, that I don't need someone else to complete me. Her face fell. But, I continued, I also learned that I don't want to be alone. I want to be partnered, equally, with someone who sees what I contribute and values it. Someone who shows up with the same energy I bring. Can I be that person? I don't know. Can you? I want to try. Really try. Not the way I thought trying looked, but actual partnership. Equal effort. Equal awareness. That's going to mean a lot of boring, invisible work. Managing calendars. Remembering birthdays. Doing grocery shopping and laundry and dishes. It's not romantic. It's just life. I know that now. Do you? Because a week isn't very long. It's easy to say you've changed when you're scared of losing something. It's harder to maintain that change when things get comfortable again. So what do? I thought about it. We try. Actually try. Both of us. But with new rules. Equal contribution. If you start falling back into old patterns, I'm not going to pick up the slack and resent you for it. I'm going to tell you. And you need to hear it without getting defensive. I can do that. And no more ultimatums. No more testing. You're either in this marriage or you're not. I'm not going to audition for the role of your husband every time you get bored. That's fair. If you're unhappy, you talk to me. Not your friends. Not some guy at work. Me. We figure it out together, or we admit it's not working and end it with dignity. She reached across the table and took my hand. First physical contact we'd had in 7 days. I don't want to end it. I want to fix it. Then we fix it. Together. Equal effort. Equal effort, she repeated. 3 months later, things were different. Not perfect. We still argued. She still forgot things sometimes. But she noticed when she forgot. Apologized. Corrected. She did the grocery shopping every other week. Managed her own schedule. Contributed to household tasks without being asked. We were in counseling. Her idea. The therapist helped us navigate the rebuilding of trust, the rebalancing of responsibilities, the understanding of what had gone wrong. You took him for granted, the therapist told her in one session. You lived in a smooth-running household and thought that was just how life was. You didn't see all the work that made it smooth. I see it now, she said, and squeezed my hand. The question, the therapist said to both of us, is whether you can maintain this awareness when things get comfortable again, when the crisis has passed and daily life returns. I think so, she said. Then, turning to me, I hope so. Hope isn't a strategy, the therapist said gently. What specific changes have you implemented? She pulled out her phone and showed us. A shared task list. A calendar she was actually maintaining. Photos of meal prep she'd done. I set up systems. Reminders. I'm learning what he was doing instinctively. And how does that feel? The therapist asked her. Overwhelming sometimes. I had no idea how much mental energy it took to manage a household. To remember everything. To anticipate needs. That's called emotional labor, the therapist said. And cognitive load. Your husband was carrying almost all of it. I know that now. The therapist turned to me. And how are you feeling about her efforts? Honestly, cautiously optimistic. She's trying. Really trying. But I'm also aware that effort inspired by fear of loss isn't the same as effort inspired by genuine partnership. Can you explain that distinction? Right now, she's motivated by not wanting to lose me. That's external motivation. What happens when she feels secure again? When she's not afraid I'll leave? Will she maintain this effort, or will we slide back into old patterns? That's a fair concern, the therapist acknowledged. What would help you feel more secure? Time. Consistency. Seeing that she can maintain this when it's boring. When the fear has faded. When there's no crisis driving her to prove herself. She looked at me with something that might have been hurt. You don't trust that I've changed. I trust that you're changing. Present tense. I don't yet trust that the change is permanent. What do I have to do to prove it? Nothing. You can't prove future behavior. You can only demonstrate it over time. That's the whole point. I spent 3 years demonstrating my commitment every single day, and you didn't see it as proof of anything until it stopped. So forgive me if I need more than 3 months of effort to believe it's sustainable. The room went quiet. The therapist nodded slowly. That's very honest. And very fair. It feels like you're holding the ultimatum over my head now, she said quietly. Like you're waiting for me to fail. I'm not waiting for you to fail. I'm waiting to see if you succeed. There's a difference. That doesn't feel very supportive. You know what isn't supportive? Issuing an ultimatum to your spouse demanding they prove their worth in 7 days. You set that precedent. I'm just following through on my own evaluation. She looked like I'd slapped her. The therapist intervened. Let's talk about the difference between accountability and punishment, she said. Because I think that's what we're dancing around here. I looked at her, really looked at her, saw the effort she was making, the genuine change. The woman who now made coffee for both of us every other morning, who had taken over managing our social calendar, who did her own laundry and half of the household cleaning. I hope so too, I said. Because here's what I'd learned from that week. Love isn't about grand gestures. It's not about flowers and chocolates and romantic dinners. It's about someone noticing you're out of coffee cream and picking some up on the way home. It's about managing the boring details of life so your partner doesn't have to. It's about showing up consistently, even when it's not exciting. And sometimes, people need to see what life looks like without that love to understand what they had all along. She'd wanted a week to evaluate whether I was worth keeping. Instead, she got a week-long demonstration of what she'd be losing. And I got a week to evaluate whether I wanted to be with someone who couldn't see my value until it was withdrawn. In the end, we both decided the answer was yes. But it was a cautious yes. A we'll try and see what happens yes. Not the naive certainty of newlyweds who think love conquers all, but the harder-won understanding of two people who'd almost lost something valuable and were committed to not taking it for granted again. Equal effort, equal awareness, equal appreciation. That was the new foundation we built on. And so far, it was holding.
Dear listeners, please share your thoughts in the comments, and do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel.